How is it going, everyone? In this video we're going to be taking a look at setting up and getting ready for, if you're interested, service provider. Now this is just to help you guys get situated. This is a step-by-step walkthrough on how to make something work the way you need it to. There's a couple components you're going to need. You're going to need a copy of GNS3, preferably the latest version, anything 1.3 or greater. That's what I happen to be running. So I'm going to go ahead and just double click on GNS3 to get that process started. Once GNS3 is started, which we are now, I'm going to go ahead and click on do not show this again, because that is just an annoying pop-up. I'm going to click on close and wait for that guy to finish up. Now he's getting set up for a couple different things. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go through and get us situated so that we can go forward with getting our implementation for service provider operational. The one product that you need to have, there's no getting around this, the one product you need to have is iOS XR. There's a couple ways of getting it, and the most common way that I've seen people go out and get it is they download the iOS XRV OVA file from Cisco's website and they load it inside of VMware, and voila. The drawback to that is you lose the functionality that GNS3 allows you to have. That functionality basically is to run Wireshark. Now I'm a big proponent of Wireshark, especially in the learning phase of technology. The reason I say that is because you can actually go through and see the packet formats and see how the label bindings work, and for me that's a big help because then you can see different things going across the wire. When I was studying for my CCIE route switch exam, I lived in Wireshark, and I'm not going to change that methodology. I learned a lot, I know the packet formats, so it just makes sense to we'll learn it that way as well. So one of the things I already did was on this computer, I already have the iOS XR V demo 5.3 the disk right here. I have the VMDK, and this is the actual hard drive. I've already got this already loaded. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to click here, I'm going to go copy. Actually, I should cut it, and I should go to I believe it is, give me a second here, let's go to computer, local disk, users, Rob, GNS3, and then we should be able to go here and plug it into, I think it's going to be an iOS, but actually let's keep it here in documents, and we're not going to cut it. First thing we're going to do is click here and edit and go to preferences. We're going to click on QEMU VMs. We're going to click on new, and we're going to give it the default setup. We're going to click on next. We're going to name this. This is going to be iOS-XRV. We're going to click next. Now, I'm going to give a lot of kudos to Humphrey Chung. Humphrey Chung is the router gods guy. Really smart dude. Actually just sort of became connected with him through the internet, and really good guy. So he's the one that actually showed me how to do this. You have three different options here. You have QEMU system x86 64-bit. You need to actually click on this 32-bit. And then he mentioned to run this as 1920 megabytes. Just a touch under 2 gigs of RAM. We're going to click on next. And we're going to name we need to browse for the hard disk file. So the browse, click on documents, and scroll down to this guy right here, the VMDK file. Click on open, and so would you like to copy the iOS XRV demo 5.3 demo VMDK to the default images directory? We're going to say yes. Now it's going to take a couple of moments, and it actually went a lot faster than I was expecting it to. We're going to click on finish, and we're going to go to apply and click on OK. Now a couple of things we need to do before we go any further is I'm going to grab this guy out here, and I'm going to put 16 of these guys out here. Click on OK. So it's going to go ahead and it's going to spin it's going to do whatever it's doing on the back end. I don't exactly know off the top of my head what it's doing. But one of the things we need to do here is we need to click on this guy right here. We're going to grab XRV, and we're going to grab 4 of these puppies. So we're going to click 4 and click on OK. And you might ask, well, why 4? Well, the reason why I'm doing 4 is because of the fact that I am utilizing INE's CCIE service provider. So, because they're the only company out there that's actually got any decent SP stuff out there. So, that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing it. So, at the same point in time, I'm also going to grab these guys, and I'm going to do the Ethernet switch, plug this guy right here. I'm going to plug everybody into this guy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click here, configure it, and I'm going to delete all of these connections. These are all access ports. I need to turn these guys into a bunch of trunks and create a whole bunch of them. So I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I've got enough. Let's add a few more. Click apply, click OK. So now if you hover over this guy, you should have a bunch of ports. I have a 24 port switch. Now I can connect all these guys together. So by doing that, I can go in here and click this guy, fast 1/0 to 1, and so on and so forth. You guys get the picture here, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I do that, but I'm not going to do that to these guys. And well, actually, you might ask, well, why not? Well, because they're not configured yet. If you right click here and go configure, and on the group here, if you go to general network, yeah, there's no interfaces configured. You have adapters, you have one. So we're actually going to click up here, and we're going to, you have the ability to come in here and change the Ethernet type, and I'm going to just click in here and use this, but I'm going to adapters. I'm going to do a bunch. Click apply. That should do that to all 4 of them. If we hover over it, now they all have 5 adapters. The reason why you need adapters, lots more adapters here than you do over on these guys, is because of the fact of the way you're going to be laying this stuff out. So none of these guys are actually configured yet. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these guys out real quick, and I'm going to move this guy here and these guys down. So I'm going to connect all of these routers, so all 20 devices, to the switch. So they're going to be doing basically router on a stick, .1Q subinterfaces and stuff like that as we go through. That's how majority of the technologies are going to work. The one thing that is done, that needs to be done, that is different than the rest of it, is in order to utilize the layer 2 VPN feature, you need to make sure that you go in here and get point-to-point connections. So it can't be routed through the switch. It has to be a point-to-point connection between a couple of different devices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these guys right here, slide them back up, slide this guy up here, and I'm going to go ahead and connect them. And I wish there was a faster way to do this, but there really isn't. You just have to, you know, bite the bullet and deal with it. So it does take a while for this to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I connect all these guys up. And once I come back, I'm going to add a couple connections. And before I do that, I'm going to go here and go configure, grab this guy, and go slots. I'm going to grab and put another guy here. And I should be good to go everywhere else. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get these all guys connected, and then I'll bring you back in here in a moment. So we have everything physically connected now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go router 2 on fast 1/1 to router 1 on fast 1/1, and then router 2 on fast 2/0 to router 3 on fast 1/1. I'm going to do fast router 4 fast 1/1 to router 7 fast 1/1, and I'm going to do router 5 1/1 to router 8 fast 1/1, and then I'm going to do XR1 to XR2, and then that's pretty much it. Everything else looks pretty good at this point. We have all of our connections set up the way we need them to, and I'm going to expand these guys out where they need to be and all that good stuff. So now the true test is going to come in. Will these guys all launch? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the start menu, and so they all launch. Now, one of the things you'll have to realize too about this system is not like your mama's computer. So if you click here on computer and we go to system properties, this is a virtual machine running with about 40 gigs of RAM. Actually, I got 48 dedicated to it, and for whatever reason it says it's not. Oh, there it is, 48 gigs of RAM. And I just spun up a whole bunch of machines at one time on it. So if we go right click here and go to Start Task Manager, everything just spiked up. So it's going to take a while for this stuff to actually get in play, but that's okay. And as a matter of fact, I haven't picked any idle PC values, so it's actually not a smart deal to load them all up at the same time. So I'm going to right click here and go to Start, and then once this guy loads, we're going to go to, is there an idle PC value? There is. Yes, there is. So that's going to take some time. But the other thing here is this guy right here. I'm going to right click on him and I'm going to go Start. So I just started that connection. I'm going to right click here in console, And so here momentarily, this thing should start up. Now if you've never used iOS XR before, that's okay. iOS XR takes a bit of getting used to. It's a little bit different command structure, a little bit different hierarchy inside of your config structure. It's a little bit different way of operating things. Most of the commands are going to be relatively the same, but some of them aren't. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning on doing some stuff that's specific to service provider. Some IS to IS training, some iOS XR breakdowns, and explaining how iOS XR works, going through its command structure, breaking stuff down. So that's going to be the primary thing I do. Now the drawback to iOS XR is that it takes a lot of resources. So if we were to right click here and go to Start Task Manager, you're going to see it's going to start climbing up here. And unfortunately that's just the nature of the beast. So one of the common things that I often get, if we hover over here, see where it says console port is on 2017? If you were to take any version of, in this case I'm going to use Super Putty, and I'm going to go ahead and close out these windows. They're on my other screen here in just a moment. Bring this guy over, and I'm going to bring this guy down just a bit. And I'm going to click here, and I'm going to expand ESXi, I'm going to expand Service Provider, and I'm going to take XR1, right click and go ahead and edit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to type in 100 and then 2017. I'm going to click on save that. I'm going to close this window out because it's a current console window. And if I've done my job correctly, I should be able to double click on this guy and get a response. Hopefully. This way here I'll be able to tab out everything as we go along. Hopefully it works. I can't guarantee it. Platform does take a couple minutes to get working. So an R1, okay, it's not going to play along, which is okay. Not a big deal. But it's definitely going to be something you're going to want to play with as you move forward. And make sure you can tab all this stuff out. I have secure CRT, so I might try that guy as well. But the reason why you're going to want to play with this is because of the fact that this thing does give you a lot of stuff to work with, and you need to know how this stuff works as you're moving forward. There's really no getting away from that. The nice thing about this is, though, is if you right click here, you go to start capture, you'll be able to capture the traffic as it's going through here. So that's one of the beautiful things about this setup is when you're studying and you're going through your different technologies. So like once this guy starts rolling out, it does take a couple minutes, and that's why I'm keeping this live until it comes up. So I'll be able to show you things like L2 transport and dealing with like your layer 2 VPNs and stuff like that. Most of the connections and the connectivity and the commands are going to be available. So I was to right click here and go to console and open this guy up and go to global config, and let's actually go here and click on this guy. So fast 1/0. We're going to come in here and we're going to say interface fast 1/0 and type in xconnect. Xconnect is available, and then type in 1.1.1.1 question mark. It's going to be 100, and then we're going to say it's going to be encapsulation is going to be MPLS, and we're going to say hit the enter key. Now basically what I've done there is I've enabled xconnect on here. So now if we were to, what xconnect basically does, it allows you to run what they call Ethernet over MPLS, or ATOM, any transport over MPLS. This allows you to go through and actually run a layer 2 VPN between your sites. So when we move forward with this, you'll see the cool thing about this is the service provider's network actually acts like a gigantic layer 2 switch. So that all of your sites that are going to be running on xconnect or layer 2 will connect into the same LAN and be good to go. So that's pretty much the big deal about this. So that's where I'm at with that one. It's not a ton to get this stuff working. Let's see if XR1 is ready. So if you're not sure how to get this stuff working, it's pretty simple. You're going to hit the enter key here, and this should pretty much be very close to what you'd see if you were to do this in a production environment, but not exactly. So here I'm going to type in the root system name is going to be Rob, and then the password is going to be Cisco and Cisco again, and then it's going to prompt me to log in. In the OVA template, it actually gives you a default login and template to log in with. But unfortunately, a lot of things are missing. Like you can't go in and do things like, what was I going to say? Like setting up secure domain routers and doing things like that are missing from the OVA. I haven't played with this one a lot yet to see if that's actually available. So there we go. We have the CPU. And I'm going to go to global config, and excuse me. One of the common things that I run into here is, or with people that don't know this platform as well, is they don't realize what is needed to save the config. Okay, so this guy isn't quite ready to run yet, and it says system configuration is still in process. Once we have the ability to do this, this is not like regular iOS. So when you want to go in there and you want to get stuff set up, so like in iOS, when you go into global config and you hit the enter key and you go in and type in interface fast1/0 and you type in no shut, that's it. It's an instantaneous take effect. As soon as you hit the enter key, whatever command you entered, as long as it was acceptable, it's going to take effect. iOS XR, that is not the case. You have to commit your configuration. So as soon as this guy gives me the OK, and I don't think it's ready yet. System configuration is still in progress. So once it spins up, and that's why prior to me spinning up a router, I would have to wait for. It's still in process. I don't think it's going to let me do it, but I'm going to try it anyway. And alright, so I'm in config mode, but unfortunately, it's still in process. But, like for instance, if I was to go type in do show IP interface brief, I'm not even sure if it's going to show you. This thing is still probably pegged. I don't even know if I can get a, it's not too bad, considering. Close this guy out. Does this one have a idle PC? No, it does not. So okay, there it goes. So as you can see, I have a bunch of interfaces, and you notice how it's gig 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 0 is automatically taken away. This guy right here is management, so I can't even play with that guy. So I'm going to go into interface gig 0/0/0/0 and type in, once it allows me to do so. It's probably still in configuration. Once it comes up, and it does take a long time to do so, I'm going to type in no shut. Right? Now, one thing you'll notice is in normal iOS, it would automatically kick in. If you type in do show IP interface brief, and once it pulls up, it doesn't always give you that right away. Now, is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it really depends. Notice how nothing happened. I have to type in commit in order for that to take a happen. So, assuming that everything is good to go, and this might bug out on me and say that it can't be reconfigured, but all I've done is I bounced an interface. That's all I've really done. The status, so the physical, and then the layer 2, this stuff isn't even ready to go yet. I'm actually doing this kind of prematurely. So the commit has taken effect. Well, actually, I don't think it has, because I didn't see the MGBL show up yet. But I don't think it actually took effect. But in order for that to work, might have to give it another minute or so. It does take like 5 minutes for each box to spin up. So like if I was going to be doing a demo, I'd have to wait like a half an hour before I'd be able to do any of this stuff. Yeah, see, it didn't take effect yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video until this is ready to go, and then once it's situated, I'll bring you guys back in. But if you weren't sure why something isn't taking effect, you need to issue the commit command, and I'll show you a couple things you can do to help with that. Okay, so the system configuration finally completed. So I went ahead and I hit, enter key just to see if any of my config actually changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, exit out of here and type in interface gig 0/0/0/0 again, hit the enter key and type in no shut. I'm going to type in do show IP interface brief, and as you'll see, nothing happened. I have to type in show config. Whoop, show config. Let me type in commit. It's weird because it's in iOS. Okay, this way here it did change it to up to down. So if I type in do show IP interface brief, now the port is up, right? That's a good sign. So normally if you were to do a show config, and I don't know if this has the ability of taking all the commands. So let's type, if I say exit out of here and type in interface gig 0/0/0/0 dot, we'll say, what am I going to connect to here? Let me just pull something up real quick. I'm going to say this is XR1. I'm going to type in 1112. I'm going to type in .1Q VLAN is 1112. Okay, I'm going to type in IP address of 10.11.12.11/24. And there we go. So IP address. Okay. Now if I type in show config, okay, see it doesn't like that command. There's a do show config. Yeah, one of the cool things here is normally in regular iOS, I'm sorry, iOS XR, if you hit show config, it actually show you the candidate config. The candidate config is going to be what you're going to be hitting commit on. If I do show commit, yeah, see commit, if I just hit commit, it does take a minute. If I type in do show IP interface brief, then I have that port is configured, right? So that's a good sign. And there's some interesting considerations that you need to take, but once it's all said and done, you should be in pretty good shape. But at this point in time, that's really all there really is to it. I'm going to go ahead and get everything configured. And as I go through my preparation and get much better at some of the stuff, I will go ahead and show you guys some stuff and go from there. One of the quick things that I want to show you guys real quick though is, if I was to come in here and go to, is it right here? 2502, so this is going to be 2502, 2501, 2501. If I double click on here and hit the enter key, I might have turned it off already. Edit settings. Yeah, it's on. I don't know why it's not pulling up. That's weird. Let me just double click on XR2. There it goes. So Rob and Cisco. So here I'm on XR2. This is the OVA template. So we type in show IP interface brief. So let's go up here to global config. We'll type in interface gig 0/0/0/0 dot 1000. .1Q VLAN is 1000. We're going to type in IP address of 1.1.1.1/20 or /16. Hit the enter key, and now if I type in show config, it's weird. That's really weird. Do show config. It should show you that, and I'm not sure. Do show config. Let's see here. Let's see. Is it that one? Running. Let's just. I'm gonna have to do a commit. Committed that, so do show IP interface brief. And there's VLAN 1000. Everything's good to go. That gives you the point that I was trying to get across earlier. But that's okay though. So that's what's up. Hope this was good. Thanks for watching.